Should I start a podcast? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten this question in the last 6 months. From clients on Zoom calls, from women in my entrepreneurship communities like CEO Besties, from the people who slid into my DMs after a podcast episode and say, "Hey Julie, quick question. I'm thinking about starting a Substack. What do you think?" And almost every single time when I dig in a little and ask about what they currently have as their long form content, the answer is the same. They don't have a blog. Or if they have a blog, they have no idea if it's getting any traffic or if it's not. Or they have a handful of random posts with no strategy connecting any of them. But they want to start a Substack. Listen, I get the appeal. Honestly, I get it. If you have been posting on Instagram lately, like myself, and feel like you're screaming into a void, you're not making it up. You're not crazy. The reach has tanked. The algorithm is brutal, and you can spend 2 hours on a reel that 7 people will see, which is also why I outsource mine to a VA. Anyway, 3 of which of the people who will see your reel are your mom, your sister, and the lady that sat next to you in 10th grade biology, or the lady that you hung out with 10 years ago at Red Club. So when your Substack starts showing up on your feed with its clean interface, with writers who are building audiences and influencers are saying it's amazing, and it has built-in recommendation bars, of course your brain goes, well, wait, is this the answer? Maybe I should be doing this. I want to talk to you about this today because I think a lot of you are about to make a move that's not going to fix what you think it's going to fix. Welcome to Coffee and Conversions, the podcast for millennial moms building something meaningful alongside real life. We're talking web design, SEO, Pinterest, and organic marketing, the behind-the-scenes systems to help your business get seen without taking over your life. I'm Julie, the founder of PNW Designs. I'm a Minnesota mom working full-time in corporate America, actually in finance, while growing my business on the side. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that growth doesn't come along from doing more. It comes from doing what actually works. Most of my business ideas start with coffee, and this podcast is all about strategies that actually convert, hence Coffee and Conversions. It's not about hustle for the sake of hustle, and it's not about pretty things that don't perform. So grab your coffee, pop in your headphones, and let's get into today's episode. If you're new here, I'm Julie, an organic marketing and finance nerd, and today we're talking about Substack versus blogging. We are going to get into what actually makes sense and when to actually start a Substack, why it works for some people, like Jenna Kutcher, and why most of you listening, it's probably not the move you think it is. Little side note, if you get annoyed with me saying Substack, me too. I feel like I say it wrong all the time. Anyway, I'm going to walk you through 3 things that have been different about blogging in 2026, because obviously you might hear blogging is dead, but blogging still works. Long form content on your own website still works, and guess what? You own that content. If you think it works like it used to, and you've been blogging the same way since 2015, then that's why your strategy might feel broken, and we'll get into that too. So, as we get into the episode, I obviously wanted to talk about why Substack is everyone's backup plan. I want to make sure we're all on the same page about why this conversation is even happening right now. For the last year or so, Instagram has felt like a part-time job that pays nothing. You post, you spend the time, you do the trends, you write the captions, you train Claude to sound like you so you can write the captions even faster, and the reach just isn't there. I'm seeing it in my own analytics. I'm hearing it from clients on every single discovery call that I have around SEO. And I'm watching entrepreneurs I respect just feel exhausted, because we all do. And I don't want it to feel like another sales place either. So everyone starts asking the same question in different ways. How do I get found? Where should I be putting my energy? Is Instagram even worth it anymore? Where are people actually paying attention and caring if it's not Instagram? And Substack walked in like the conversation at the exact right time. It's appealing. You write long form content, your readers actually get to your content delivered to their inbox. There's a built-in recommendation engine where other Substack writers can promote you on their audience, and you can see people making real money on the platform and growing their audience. It feels like a really cool tool and a fresh start. And even as I talk about it, I'm like, why don't I do this? I'll tell you why. Anyway, it feels like you can actually grow and you can do that. But here's the part I want you to sit with as we go through this episode. Substack is still someone else's platform. It is still a place where you do not own the rules, the algorithm, the discovery, or the future of how your content gets distributed. It is, in a lot of ways, just Instagram with longer caption and less obnoxious of an algorithm. And if your entire content strategy is renting space on someone else's platform, you're going to have the exact same conversation in 2 years when Substack changes how recommendations work, or if there's too many people, or if the pricing model shifts, or when there's something newer and shinier that comes out, because inevitably that happens. It's just the cycle. The thing that fixes the shouting into the void feeling is not picking a different platform to shout from. It's building a place that is actually yours, a place that does not change the rules on you, a place where your content lives forever and works for you while you sleep. That place, for 90% of you listening right now, is going to be a blog. And I know, so many of you are, I don't want to write a blog, but it has to be. A real blog on your own website with your own URL that you control. One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning of this episode is Jenna Kutcher. So let me talk about Jenna Kutcher for a minute, because I think it's important to really put things in perspective. If you know her, or Amy Porterfield, for example, you might say, well, Jenna's doing it. Jenna moved to Substack. If Jenna's doing it, it must be the move. And now listen, I get it. I have followed her for years. She's incredibly smart. She's a great marketer. She's one of the best content marketers in this space, and she generally does make strategic moves. But here's what most people are missing when they look at her Substack and think, I should do that too. So first thing, Jenna has been blogging consistently for over 10 years. We are talking weekly, sometimes more than weekly, for over a decade. Do you know what that does to a website? And I know she didn't have SEO strategy in the very beginning, because I've actually talked to our SEO strategist, but that's not the point. It creates foundation of search traffic that keeps working in the background. Every single day, people are finding her own blog posts through Google because she's been showing up for these keywords for years. And that foundation does not just go away when she opens a Substack. It's still there and still doing the work, still bringing in the traffic and the leads and the audience. Second thing, I actually went and looked at her site recently, and Jenna is still blogging on a weekly basis with SEO optimized posts, because she has a team that does that now. Even now, with Substack, she's still blogging weekly. She did not replace the blog. She added a Substack on top of an already thriving blog. Here's the other thing I want to point out about this, because I specifically looked at her Substack and her blog, and this is one of the things I'm going to tell you if you do want to do a Substack that you need to do. Her content is materially different. Her content on Substack is personal. It's about gardening. It's about Minnesota. It's about life. It's like her personal life. Her blog is not replicating the same content. Do not ever put your blog on Substack, because you're basically then competing against yourself for organic marketing traffic. So, okay. The other thing that to think about with Jenna is she's already getting at least 5,000 organic visitors to her site a month. 5,000 from Google. And that's what I can see. From real search traffic, from people typing in questions and finding her content. That is still driving her business behind the scenes that she has now basically put on auto repeat. Notice though, I said she's still showing up and blogging. She is still creating new content, but the authority she's created on her website has just made it that much easier to show up. She did not grow a Substack first and then build a blog. She built a blog first for a decade and then layered Substack on recently. And again, she's using her Substack really specifically. She's using it to bring in her personal life back into her business the way her podcast and her blog apparently. She doesn't feel like it has room for, because it's not like serving a purpose of sales. It's a layer of personality behind the scenes, like personal essays of top of already established brand. It's not her main strategy. It's like, it's vibes. So when you look at Jenna and think, I should do this and do what she's doing, what you actually need to do is what she did for 10 years before the Substack ever existed. Build the foundation, then add the channels on top. So, copying just the top of someone's content stack without copying the base of it is how you end up with a Substack and no traffic and no website authority, and that's the trap. I wanted to pause for a second because if you're listening to this and you're starting to realize that your blog and your SEO strategy is shaky or honestly basically non-existent, then this is the real fix. And this is the work. If you don't know where to start with SEO and you also aren't ready to hire me, I want you to point out to a course called SEO on Tap. I believe it's available all the time, but I guess I'm not positive. It's a course that I genuinely recommend, and I would not be telling you about it if I didn't believe in it, and I actually use it myself. It is a resource I send to a client who wanted to I would send to a client who wanted to handle their own SEO and who really wanted to dive deep and learn it themselves. So, if you want to learn SEO yourself, purchase the SEO on Tap course in the bio and use my affiliate code JulieW to get $50 off. Trust me, it's worth checking out from my favorite people who I consistently belong to their SEO membership from Dual Collective. Okay, back at it. Now I want to talk about why Substack is a trap for most entrepreneurs, because again, like, if you're going to do it, I want you to do it right, but also I want you to evaluate the pros and cons of doing it. So in the entrepreneur communities who are asking me about Substack, almost all of them, without exception, have zero long-form content that they actually own. No blog, no podcast, or a blog that hasn't been touched in 2 years, or 3 random posts they write about when they launched their business and haven't added anything since. And I'm also going to say, like, if you have a podcast and you're like, well, I'll just put my show notes on Substack. Fine, but then you need to put a blog correlating to your podcast on your blog. I guess I said that twice, but you know what I mean. If you only do Substack, nothing says I want to own my own audience. Like moving to another platform that you don't own. Like, why are we escaping one other algorithm to go to a different algorithm? We're fixing a platform problem with more platforms. That's not the solution. Like, we need to have, a platform you own where you are willing to write consistent, long-form content by yourself. And you're not going to write consistently on Substack and not show up and have long-form content. Like, if you're going to consistently show up on Substack, why wouldn't you put that work into a platform you already own? And why wouldn't you do the research to find results so people can find you and listen to your brand? You can do the Jenna method of having a personal Substack, but you need to do the work first. You need to build a blog that can capture emails, that can create your marketing workflow, that can create your authority, that can grow that know-like trust factor, and not be relying on somebody else's business. Again, absolutely there's a place for it, but every single person that I've talked to that wants to do one, or even I was just talking to another website owner who just messaged that she started one, like, you're basically putting in work for somebody else. You're not growing your authority, you're growing Substack's authority. Yes, it's a marketing channel, but it's not going to help you in the long run because you're renting the space and you're not growing even your website authority. So I say, like, don't use Substack to avoid the actual problem of making sure you're also growing your own organic authority and long-form content and taking SEO seriously. It shouldn't be sold as a shortcut around that work, because it's not. Yes, it helps with being discovered, and that's where I'm like, yeah, you could totally use Substack, but it needs to have its unique own content strategy where you're not saving all the goodie bits for Substack, you're saving it for your own website. So obviously the other elephant in the room is people are going to be like, blogging is dead because of AI. So Blogging absolutely still works. Long form content on your own site will work, and you can make it as a small business owner. SEO is not dead. Blogging is not dead. However, it does require very specific strategy and knowledge, or you will not get results. And I have recently seen blogging services that are not helpful. If you've been listening to me, then you know you need to do something about getting seen by search. And also, if you'd rather DIY, then I have something for you. It's SEO on Tap. This DIY SEO course created by my friends at Duo Collective is one of the best step-by-step roadmaps I've ever seen to learning SEO without getting overwhelmed. The lessons are short, think 5 to 10 minutes each, so you can actually fit them into your real life. No techie jargon, no fluff, and it's actually how I started out learning about SEO as well. You'll learn how it works, how to get found on Google by the right people, and you get lifetime access, which makes this a long-term investment in your business. And they do make regular updates as SEO shifts. So if you want to take the DIY route, this is where I'd start. I became an affiliate because I believe in this course so much, and I have no desire to launch my own SEO course. So use my code JulieW, that's JULIEW, to get $50 off. Check it out in the show notes or head to buypwdesigns.com/marketing-resources under SEO for the link. All right, back to the episode. Anyway, the game has changed in very specific ways. And if you're still churning out generic 800-word posts, stuff with the same keyword 4 times, and using Claude to write it without your own personality, it's not going to move the needle. You have to commit to a different blog strategy. And here are 3 things that I have as tips to be different in the age of AI. Number 1, write for questions, not just keywords. Not a unique thing, but the way people are finding content has shifted. Obviously huge. ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google AI overviews, all of these are pulling answers from content that clearly answers specific questions. So when you're writing a blog post, your H2 headers should be actual questions your audience would type or speak in search, not important SEO tips. Nobody's searching for that. The other thing to mention is Claude. A study recently showed that 50% of Claude's citations are with content that has been generated in the last 13 weeks. Again, if you do not have long-form content, how is Claude going to cite you? It cannot cite your Substack, or if it is, it's giving Substack credit for it. Even if it's going to show you as the author, guess what? The likelihood that that person clicks into your website, really, really small. What they are searching for in blogs is, how do I get my small business website to show up on Google? Again, it's a real question, a real person typing it in. An AI tool pulls answer for content structured that way. Fun fact, you can actually see on your Google Search Console what people are, or what you're showing up for Google. Well, but here's the kicker. The answer to that question should come from the first sentence or 2 of each header. Not buried at the end, not after 3 paragraphs. AI engines need to grab the answer quickly to pull it to the results. So you need to make sure you're leading with the answer and then expand. Number 2, lean into your story, your clients, your own experience. This is so important because AI can write a generic blog post in 30 seconds. I've literally seen a client show me a blog source that does this. But generic content is dead, and the internet is flooded with regurgitated 10 tips for blah, blah, blah posts. Or what the new thing is like the 3-section whatever. They're not all going to rank because they all say the same thing. None of them are going to be pulling answers because, again, they're not unique enough. Like, it's not you. So an example would be, I recently worked with a home organizer out of Arizona, and she is using a blog service, and the blogs are not getting traffic. And one of the things she wants to do is rank for home organizing in Phoenix. Let's go with Phoenix. I can't remember. One of the bigger cities. Sedona. And we didn't specifically build a Sedona location page right now. So what I told her to do is highlight projects. Like, she can use her keyword list for blogs that I gave her and then pull in an exact client project that she did in Sedona, Arizona, and talk about that project on her blog. She can answer using targeted keywords that I've given her, but tie in the real result of a real client example and get the local SEO results by using the location as well. It can't be you. It can't tell that story of how that client came to you and why it was so important for you to come and clean their house, or not clean, organize their house. And it can't share that specific opinion of why that project worked and the products that you were using. It's just going to give you some other generic result. So those are the blogs that are winning right now, are the personality-led and expertise-led. Real voices, real stories, specific opinions, which can feel super scary. But the more specific your content is, the more it's going to stand out from everything that's flooding the internet right now. That kind of writing gives you personality and warmth that you might have been looking for in just publishing a Substack. And you don't have to have just a Substack to have personality. You can have personality on your blog and on your own URL that you grow and you gain your own authority. Number 3, that is different, and the reason you need to be smart with AI is you need to go deep on fewer topics, not wide on everything. Topical authority is super important. And again, pretty easy for service-based businesses like home organizing that obviously have like one topic they're focusing on. But even if she wants to rank for closet systems, she can make sure she has a section on closet systems on her blog. For me, obviously, SEO is something I'm trying to build my topical authority. Unfortunately, everyone who does SEO also knows how to do this. So it's very hard. But if I was really smart, I would like niche down to what like SEO for wellness brands, because most of my, as I'm talking, I'm like, I should do this. Anyway, most of my Minnesota clients are wellness brands. But Google and AI search engines are going to reward sites that recognize as a clear source for a specific subject. I mean, totally makes sense because it's not going to want to source something that they don't feel is reliable. So instead of writing one post about Pinterest, one about email marketing, and one about Instagram Reels, again, using marketing examples, and one about personal items like your dog's birthday party or your child's birthday party, you need to pick a lane and own it, which is really what we've been saying about Instagram all along. For me, obviously my lane is SEO and web design and Pinterest. Technically SEO and Pinterest. All of those are under the umbrella of organic marketing. Everything I publish ladders up to organic marketing. And this is why my blog ranks and does get some traffic. And if you're blogging in 26 and you want to actually see results and build topical results, then pick 3 to 5 core topics that connect with what you sell. Write a pillar post for each one, a long, comprehensive post that covers the topic from every angle, then write supporting posts that link back to the pillar post. Something I still really, honestly, need to do. I mean, I guess I probably have done it, I just haven't outlined it that way. Anyway, that structure is how you build authority and makes Google and AI tools see your site as a real source. And honestly, the other thing I'll say about consistency, even once a month, is better than nothing. I don't want to leave you hanging on, like, Substack can make sense. So I'm not anti-Substack. I want to be, sorry about the dog. I want to be really clear about that. I just want people to make this decision with their eyes open. So here's where it can make sense. 1, you already have an established blog. That's basically my whole point of this podcast episode. Your SEO foundation is working, your content engine is running, and you understand how to blog and you have a direction for it. You have proof that long-form content is doing something for your business. Number 2, you want a personal life layer that does not fit on your business website and may confuse Google authority. So maybe you want to write about parenting or life outside of business or corporate life for myself or mental health stuff. Like opening up about personal things that have nothing to do with your business and an authority you do not want to build. Substack is actually a really good home for that kind of writing because it builds that personal essay and reflection and builds that community. And then you can tell people about your authority and business things on your blog. Number 3, you have the capacity to channel without dropping the work of what's actually driving results. So adding Substack should be an addition, not a replacement. If you're barely keeping up with what you have now, don't add Substack. You will have to do both and end up frustrated with both. So again, if you have the capacity and you have an angle, great. But do not do a Substack and duplicate your blog content. So if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'd love to answer them. Or if you're on my email list, you're welcome to email me there. But the biggest thing here that I want you to take it for is order matters. Own first, just like your email, and add. So if you want to take one thing from this episode, again, own your audience. It's not about chasing the platform that feels new and exciting, although I do kind of love Threads. It's about building a foundation that you control on a site that's yours, with content that does not disappear when the algorithm changes, or a platform that pivots because they feel like it or they need more traffic. For most of you listening, that foundation is going to be the blog, a real blog on your own website, with a real SEO strategy written in your own voice on topics you actually know. Yes, you can look at retainer services, and PS, feel free to DM me if you're interested in my retainer services if you're a past client. It's not as glamorous as it thinks to open a Substack, and feeling like you just started something new can be fun, but think about something that pays back dividends year after year, like Jenna Kutcher. And if you want to know what you're doing, if it's even working, don't forget about my free SEO monitoring tools guide as well that tells you how to install Google Search Console and Google Analytics if you haven't already done that. And remember, if you really want to learn SEO on your own and do it by yourself, including blogging, then SEO on Tap is the move. It's a self-guided course by Duo Collective, my SEO mentors, and my affiliate code is JulieW for $50 off. It is linked in the show notes. And if this episode was good, do me a favor. Send it to a friend who's about to start a Substack, or take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. I'd love to see if you're listening. I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Same time, same coffee, same conversion energy. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Coffee and Conversions. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single person who listens. If this episode helped you think differently about your business, I'd love if you left a rating and review or shared it with a friend who is running a business alongside you, because community is everything. It's the easiest way to help this podcast reach more women who want a strategy that actually works. You can find links, resources, and anything mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. For more tools, resources, and behind-the-scenes strategy, head over to buypwdesigns.com. And if you want to peek into my real life, corporate job, mom life, running a business, and really just like the true me, you can find me at Instagram over at julie.pwdesigns, and I hang out there most days. Until next time, keep on building intentionally, and I will see you back here at Coffee and Conversions.